Hello, hello. It is Sunday, March 17th. It's time for another weekly wrap up. I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 books this past week, which is more than I was expecting. It's a small stack. Like, there aren't very many large books in there. But yeah, let's get going. First up, I read a classic. I read The Warden by Anthony Trollope. Here's my thing. I'm not a huge fan of the British. Like, British classics, I liked Vanity Fair. I like more modern ones like Lord of the Flies, but when it comes to like 18th or 19th century British literature, I'm just, for the most part, it's not my thing. This was okay. It wasn't terrible. It's about this man who is in charge of a bunch of money that was left, and he kind of takes care of these old men that are less well off, but there is this young doctor who is like in love with this man's daughter, and he also has a very strong sense of justice, and he's like, why does this guy get so much money when these old guys get so little? And it's just a whole brouhaha, and it was fine. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever read, but like I said, the British, they're not my thing. I think I give it 3 out of 5 stars. Yeah, 3 out of 5 stars. Then I read a book on my Kindle. I actually read 3 books on my Kindle this week, which is insane for me, because I really don't. And really, given the state of the book wall, I really shouldn't. I really should like stay away from that. But I did read Heaven on Earth by Press Maxton. I'm gonna over here because I always put it over here. Here we go. We scoot a little bit. This is a epistolary novel written from the point of view of an alien who comes to Earth in the year 2020, and he is trying to figure out how Earthlings live, and then the COVID pandemic happens. It was funny, it was cute, it was a little heavy-handed at times, but it was a very quick read. It was cute. It was fine. Then I reread a Stephen King book, and that is I reread Carrie. I enjoy Carrie. It's very sad. This is a sad book. Carrie, if for some reason you don't know, is the story of a 17-year-old girl who is bullied by her classmates and abused by her mother, and then she figures out she has telekinetic powers about it, and she kills everybody. And it's a great book. It's Stephen King's first published novel, and it's really fun. It also almost made me cry for the first time ever, I think. This book almost made me cry. It's near the end where Carrie, there's the confrontation between Carrie and her mother's trying to talk about God's will, and Carrie goes, no, my will. It was like, that did it a little bit. It kind of did it for me. But no, this is a very good book. I know a lot of people tend to read this book and are kind of put off by Stephen King's depiction of teenage girls, but like, it's Stephen King, you know? I think there's a lot more, despite how awkward it is, I think there's a lot more compassion here than a lot of people tend to give him credit for. But it's a 5 out of 5. It's Carrie. Then I reread a book, and I read it with one of my sets of 5th graders, and that's How to Eat Fried Worms by Thomas Rockwell. And I didn't like this book as a kid, mostly because I really liked the movie, because Luke Benward, when I was in 4th and 5th grade, Luke Benward was like the pinnacle of an attractive little guy. And now he's grown up and he's still pretty good looking. Anyway, How to Eat Fried Worms. This book is fucking hilarious. It is so funny. This book follows this group of 4 friends, and they end up getting an argument and end up making this bet that one of them can eat 15 worms in 15 days. And if he eats 15 worms in 15 days, then one of the other guys will give him $50. And let's keep in mind, this book was published, I want to say in the 70s, in 1973. So let's look at the inflation calculator there. So we start, if in 1973 I purchased an item for $50, $50, that is the equivalent of giving this kid $350 for eating 15 worms. No shit, he was gonna eat those worms. But this book is so funny, it's hilarious. I love it. I love it so much. I like it a lot more than I liked it when I was a kid. This book it's a little bit young for 5th graders in terms of the reading level, but the fact that a book that is written at 3rd grade reading level does have the word bastard in it is pretty funny. Then, another Kindle book. I read The Butcher and His Boy by Laura Lascarzo, which is one of those male romances that I got for free on a Stuff Your Kindle day. And this is about this man who cuts up people for organized crime, and then one day the organized crime drops a not quite dead yet young man on his doorstep that has been, tortured and everything like that, and then they, fall in love and stuff like that. And it was remarkably well written, I think. Most of these books are not all that well done, but this one, I mean, there was some development. The characters were interesting. It was definitely tragic. It was dark. It was a good time. I think it's worth it, more than a lot of the other ones I've read. So there's that. Then I reread volume 1 of a manga series that I'm trying to reread this year a little bit, at least some of them. It's the first volume of His Favorite by Suzuki Tanaka, which is, oh god, this is funny. The first time I read the series, I didn't read it in order. I ordered the first 8 volumes of the series in one go, and I just read them as they came in. I didn't read them in order. I didn't wait for volume 1 to come. I read volume 4 first or something like that. And so it's fun to read it in order. I think this is so fun. I like the art style. I think it's cute. It's kind of average. It's nothing special, but I think it's cute. It's about this kid, and he is constantly made the butt of the joke because he's short and he's not very attractive. And then there's this guy who is everybody's in love with, and this is a parody situation. This is BL's Nozaki-kun in a way, and he just has a huge thing for this guy, and this guy is just trying to figure out what the hell's going on. It's so funny, 5 out of 5 stars. I love it. I'm excited to keep rereading and continuing on because I only read through volume 9 in general. I do now have volume 10 as well, so that's going to be exciting. Then I read another book with a set of 5th graders. That's Terror at the Zoo by Peg Carrot. And this is the same group that read The Hideout, so we're just on a Peg Carrot kick, I think. This is about these 2 siblings who they end up getting to stay overnight at a zoo as a birthday present. But there's actually a criminal there who just escaped from jail. Peg Carrot was just out of pocket with everything she wrote. I love it. It was fine. It was fun. It's not my favorite book, but definitely there's an element of fun here. It was a good time. Then I read my first Graham Masterson book, and I do own Master of Lies, which I did remember is the name of the other book of him. I think it was on TikTok or something like that where I couldn't remember it, but I own Master of Lies, and that one has a lot of this book has some fucked up shit in it. This one's also kind of fucked up. I read The Pariah by Graham Masterson, and tell me that doesn't look like Shelley Duvall. That's Shelley Duvall, right? That's we're kind of in agreement there that looks like Shelley Duvall. Anyway, this is about this man and his wife just died. His wife carrying their unborn child just died, but he is starting to see her ghost and hear her, and he doesn't know what's going on, but he realizes that he's in this town where this happens a lot. People pass on, and then their loved ones start hearing their ghosts and seeing their ghosts and everything like that, and there's a demon in the water and stuff like that. It was good. It was dark. There's some stuff in here. There was some stuff in here. I'm thinking about the eyeballs mostly right now, but no, it was fun. I'm excited to read more of his stuff. This one, the concept wasn't my alley, but I do think that the writing kind of made it fun. This is definitely some very pulpy horror, and I'm excited to read more from Masterson. Then I read probably my least favorite book of the week. It just wasn't good, and that is Seven Faceless Saints by M.K. Lobb. So this is about this world where there are these saints, and sometimes they bless people, and if they bless you, then you don't have to go to war. We follow 2 characters. We follow Roz and Damien, and they used to be best friends when they were little, but then Damien's dad had Roz's dad beheaded and all that. So my problem with this book, the first 150 pages were so fucking boring. They were just deeply boring. And then I started to kind of get into it. I mostly liked Roz and Damien's dynamic. I liked how it was kind of flipped. I liked how Damien was a complete pushover and kind of useless some of the time. And I liked how Roz was just fuck that, and just did what she wanted. But then we started to get towards the end, and it just became so predictable. I knew who the main villain was, because you can't tell us that we're supposed to care about a character and never let us really talk to the character more than once or twice, and not expect me to know that that's who our main villain is. That's just how it is. And I've never once before understood the adage that you're supposed to show, not tell, more clearly than when reading this book. This book was all telling. There was no it was not good. It wasn't good. There's a sequel. I don't want to read it. I'm probably not going to unless I see it in Goodwill or something, then I might pick it up just because I'm a completionist. But no, I gave this 2 out of 5 stars. It wasn't good. So there's that. And then the final book I read is another Kindle book, and that is Daguerreotype Dreams and Other Stories, 14 Dark Tales of the Civil War, Volume 1 by Mark Stadelman. This is a set of short stories, horror stories, based kind of featuring or based around the Civil War. It was good. There were some fun ones in there. Definitely, I think it's worth a shot. I don't think it's very expensive on Kindle, so if you are looking for a short horror story collection, I would recommend. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. So the books I'm planning on reading this next week, I've got 5 here that I'm planning on reading. One of them I'm almost done with, I guess I'm more than 4 pages in, and that is The Alchemy of Moonlight by David Ferraro. And I don't know what it is about French 19th century gay stuff that's been going on, but between like this and Charming Young Man, it's good. It's going good. I'm on board. I also want to read Kindred by John Gideon. I'm like 4 pages in. I want to read Black Chalk by Christopher J. Yates. I want to read Dreamthorpe by Chet Williamson. Look at this motherfucker. And I want to read This Foul Murder by Chloe Gong, which is one of the novellas there. It's I forget what their names are. But Benvolio Mercutio, it's their novella, and I want to read that. So that's really what I want to read this week. If I can get more read, that's great. But that's kind of my main priorities are those 5. So got these plus those Kindle books are what I read this week. That's all I have for today. I'll talk to you later, and goodbye.